Member Menezes, please introduce your motion.
What's the motion, man?
Number 11, okay. Member Menezes, please introduce your motion.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Chair. Some really quick background, which you've heard earlier in this meeting a bit. This motion was inspired by a delegation to this board by Andrew Bell in February 2024, which led me on a year-long journey of learning about this topic. For Hamiltonians tuning in, who may be at the same place of understanding that I was last year, when we refer to charter rights, these are our rights under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the fundamental rights and freedoms of all Canadians, a core part of our Constitution. It includes the rights to equal treatment, free from discrimination, right? Demonstrating how foundational these rights are. The motion I brought forward last board meeting in March regarding racial profiling, which made reference to the Elawad case, well, that was a charter rights violation, and you'll see it referenced here as well. The Charter also includes our legal rights related to arrests, detentions, and legal proceedings. That's where their relation to policing comes in. I want to highlight that the purpose of this motion is not to make our police service look bad, right, by highlighting their flaws. Rather, per the CSPA, right, the legislation that directs our role as a governing body, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is referenced as upholding the Charter as part of the functions of adequate and effective policing. Monitoring our adherence or our actions with regards to the Charter, therefore, should be an essential role of the Police Service Board, just like how we got reports from the Professional Standards Branch, just like how we got a report about the year-end report on aggregate disciplinary measures. I want to argue that an annual report on charter rights violations should become standard practice on this board, not just something that is reported as a courtesy or informally, but something that is formalized in our policies and procedures.
Are you reading your motion?
Is it simply if you would like me to read the entire motion, I'm happy to.
Yeah, I think if you read
just the therefore.
No, I think if you read your motion and we get a seconder, then we can have a full open discussion.
This is absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yes. So. Whereas the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019, CSPA 2019 outlines that adequate and effective policing means that all provided policing functions respect the requirements of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the Human Rights Code. Whereas the duties of the Hamilton Police Service Board under the CSPA 2019 include ensuring the adequate and effective policing is provided in the area for which it has policing responsibility, whereas the CSPA 2019 outlines that Police Service Board shall establish policies respecting the provision of adequate and effective policing and the handling of discipline with the police within the police service. Whereas there have been a number of recent court rulings related to the violations of charter rights by the Hamilton Police Service reported in local media, including most recently RV Russell 2024, in which the judge noted an absolute ignorance of well-established charter rights, ruling that $500,000 in cannabis and $50,000 in cash be excluded from evidence in a case that subsequently failed. RV Mackenzie 2024, in which the ruling noted that the Hamilton Police Service violated the defendant's charter rights, resulting in evidence being excluded from the trial, with the ruling noting gun violence has gripped the city of Hamilton this year. Media reports decry the alarming rates of shootings in our community. Excluding the evidence will deprive society of a trial in a case with significant public interest, but exclusion is necessary to protect the long-term integrity of the justice system. RV Elawad 2025, in which the defendant was acquitted of all charges, including the possession of a firearm and drugs, due to their charter rights being breached. Notably, the two officers involved were found to have racially profiled a black man, failing to acknowledge his right to legal counsel and conducting an illegal search. Whereas charter rights violations decrease public trust in policing, negatively impact public safety, and place the Hamilton Police Service Board at considerable risks of litigation, and whereas charter rights violations can be complex to track comprehensively, as the ruling in RV Grant 2009 noted, that for every charter breach that comes before the courts, many others may go unidentified and unredressed because they did not turn up relevant evidence leading to a criminal charge. Therefore, be it resolved, A, that the Hamilton Police Service Board invite the following speakers to deliver to the board training on common charter rights violations and the mechanisms by which they are commonly identified. Kaylee Hepburn, as the Hamilton representative from the Criminal Lawyers Association, a representative from the Office of the Crown Attorney, and that the training include reference to the following sections of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Section 7, life, liberty, and security of the person, particularly as it relates to disclosure obligations. Section 8, unreasonable search or seizure, particularly as it relates to searches with and without warrant. Section 9, arbitrary detention, particularly as it relates to racial profiling. Section 10, right to counsel, particularly as it relates to the obligation of the police to facilitate the exercise of the right to counsel. Section 11B, right to be tried within a reasonable time, particularly as it relates to the necessity of the police completing investigations and providing disclosure in a timely fashion. Section 24, enforcement of guaranteed rights and freedoms, particularly as it relates to the consequences of the failure of the police to comply with the requirements of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, including any effect on sentencing, and any other section of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms which the chair considers helpful to the board. Steve Buist from the Hamilton Spectator to present the mechanism by which he identified charter rights violations in his investigative report on the matter in 2022, and that each invited speaker address the board for no more than 30 minutes, that the auction account fund be used to provide an honorarium to any invited speaker who is not a full-time employee of the Ministry of the Attorney General. B, that the board administrative director prepare a report of any of the Big 12 police service boards with current policies and charter rights violations. C, that the Hamilton Police Service Board report back to the board a summary of 1, all criminal cases in which charges were dropped or evidence was excluded as a consequence of a Hamilton Police Service member failing to uphold charter rights. 2, the mechanism by which the Hamilton Police Service became aware of these cases. 3, the actions in terms of changes to procedures and training that were subsequently taken. And D, the Hamilton Police Service, in their annual report to the board from their professional standards branch, include a summary of disciplinary actions taken regarding charter rights violations. Now I can read it. That was thank you for bearing with me and reading all of that.
Always important. We have a mover and a seconder. You don't move as expected. Member Menezes moves. Do we have a seconder for the motion? Do we have a seconder for the motion? Seeing none, the motion will not move forward for discussion. Closed meeting. If there is no further business, can I get a motion for the board to move into closed session in accordance with section 44(1) and 2 of the Community Safety and Policing Act, as the board will be considering personal matters about identifiable individuals, including members of the police service. Board litigation, potential litigation affecting the board, including matters before administration tribunals, a trade secret and sciences, technical, commercial, financial, labor, relations information supplied in confidence in the board, which is disclosed, could reasonably be expected to be presidential or expected to be prejudice. Holy shit. Significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group or persons or organizations, labor relations and employees. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Member Menezes moves, second by Member DePulo. Any discussion? All in favor? I'll ask members of the public and media and those service members not required to attend closed portion of the meeting to vacate the chambers. After the board has completed its closed meeting, we will rise and report and return to public session. The board will take a 10-minute recess prior to commencing its closed session.
We're election.